Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sarah, for the opening prayer. Class, I know Mr. Zedi is not around, and I'm going to just guide the class while he's not around. So as we are starting, now let me find out if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Now, so we are beginning to look at, you have been looking at the introduction to children with the special needs, that is module ID 001. This is the very first module that I hope was introduced during your online learning. And I'm very sure that you are able to look at the definition of the terms, that is like the disability, the impairments. You are able to define the term disability. You are able to define the term handicap. You are able to define the term disorders, exceptionality, the inclusion, special education, and also inclusive education. You are able to define special needs, the special educational needs, and the special needs education number 12. This is what you are doing, the SNE, special needs education. And then we also have special needs in education. These terms, some of them may sound confusing, but you have to get the definitions very well so that you don't confuse yourself. So I may not necessarily repeat that which was done, but I'm here to find out exactly where we stopped. Did you look at the sensory impairments, question number 2?
I think that is where we are, Pascal.
So you are supposed to start on the sensory impairments.
Yes.
Now, so I want us to look at the question, what are sensory impairments? Now, what is an impairment? First of all, what is an impairment?
When we talk of impairment, Pascal?
Yes, you are very clear.
Impairment is any loss or damage to a part of the body through either accident, diseases, genetic factors, or any other cause.
Thank you very much. So what are sensory impairments? Somebody in the class, what are sensory impairments?
Pascal?
What are sensory impairments? Yes.
Can I try?
Yes.
Sensory impairments are those with impaired sensory organs.
They're those with impaired sensory organs. And which are these sensory organs that may be impaired? 0738, please get to the breakout room for either LD or IE. This is first year's class. So which are some of the sensory organs that may have impairments?
Like ears.
The ears. We have the ears, as a sensory, the eyes, the ears, we have the eyes. Hello, somebody? Somebody on the other, we have the ears, we have the eyes, any other sensory organ that may be impaired?
Hey, neighbors.
Right, so we have the eyes, we have the ears, and let's look at the second question about hearing loss. So when you did the introduction to children with special needs, you learned about the hearing impairment. And hearing impairment as one of the sensory organs that can be impaired, that is the hearing. So the hearing loss, this was classified into some categories. So what are some of the classifications of the hearing loss? How are they classified? Somebody?
Pascal?
Yes?
These people, why are they not contributing?
Just carry on.
Severity, age at onset,
Yes.
the part of the ear affected.
So the hearing loss is categorized according to the severity of the hearing loss, the age of the onset, and Sarah, the last one?
The part of the ear affected.
The part of the ear affected. And this classification is now what helps for the necessary intervention measures, so that if somebody is having the hearing loss, depending on how the classification or which category the hearing loss one is having will fall into. When you will be looking at module number 4, which have you learned module number 4 on teaching and learning resources?
No.
So when you will get introduced to module number 4, depending with the classification of the hearing loss,
Yeah.
you will realize that there are those who will need the ear induction materials that will aid or that will help in the hearing. But for those who will be very severe, they may have what we call like the headbone materials that are able to vibrate to pass some information to them. But in most cases, they will now be introduced to the sign language, where they will be using their eyes, their remaining senses in communication with the others. And then we talked about the characteristics of learners with low vision. Learners with low vision. What are some of the characteristics that these learners may have in a classroom setting? What are the characteristics of learners with low vision? And these are learners we come across in our day-to-day presentation of the lessons.
I can try.
Yes, please.
Most of them, they tend to complain that there's too much light or too little light in a room.
That is very true. Someone else? And the learners with low vision? What are the characteristics? Yes.
They have difficulties in reading and copying from the chalkboard.
Difficulties in reading and copying from the chalkboard.
And some of them,
Yes.
they tend to have painful eyes or swollen eyes or watery eyes.
The watery, painful, and the swollen eyes, they may be able to have such characteristics. Maybe two more people. Somebody?
And they may also, when they are writing, their letters may seem uneven.
Uneven letters when they are writing. They're also likely to tilt their head towards some direction when they're writing. They may also complain of not seeing the board well, or they may complain of too much or too little light around where they are seated. They may also keep rubbing their eyes, rubbing or poking their eyes because of the eyes may be just too itching and they can't keep themselves, they can't restrain their fingers from reaching their eyes. Let's look at acceleration. You learned about acceleration. So what is acceleration? Somebody to tell us about acceleration? Yes, somebody to define acceleration.
Let me try.
Yes.
It's a process in which learners are taken into speed, or they're taken into a speed movement in school through a regular program within a specific regular program. I don't know whether I've said it well.
That was a good trial. It was a good one. It was a very good trial. But Dulfa, you have the concept. So when you talk about acceleration, number one, we are having a group of learners within the classroom that are called the gifted and talented. Now, who are these gifted and talented learners? Do we know them? Do we know the gifted and talented learners?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
who are they? Who are they? Or how do we know them? Now, the gifted and talented learners, these are learners who they possess greater intellectual abilities when it comes to, rather compared to their age mates or compared to their peers. So you will get to a classroom, maybe you are teaching mathematics activities in grade 3 or in grade 2, but there is a learner in that grade who seems to be, he or she seems to be wasting time there, because in as much as they may be in grade 2, their intellectual ability may be able to do grade 4 work. So what are you going to do when you are having a learner in a classroom setting or a setup, a learner who is not, rather, who is having stronger intellectual ability as far ahead of the peers in the classroom? What you are going to do, you will allow such a learner within the shortest period of time to cover the syllabus, and you will also allow them to move or to get promotion from one class to the other. And actually, in a year, such learners are supposed to cover at least and at most 2 classes within 1 year. They're supposed to cover at least 2 classes. This is what we call acceleration. When the rest are still in grade 2, waiting for the year to come to an end, that learner will have covered grade 2 at the same time the learner will have covered grade 3 work. So the learner within 1 year is supposed to at least cover 2 classes in the acceleration. And we are doing this so that we are in a position to control, so that we are in a position to control the behavior-wise of such learners and their hyperactivity. They are very highly hyperactive. So because you want to control their hyperactivity, you will not only present the lesson as usual, but you will also accelerate such learners. Remember, another way that you're going to deal with such learners in the classroom, in the classroom setting, you can do what we call enrichment. You can do enrichment where parts of what is already covered is put aside, and then you bring something that is new. For example, you can introduce some other subjects like brain to such learners so that they can get new things, so that they can learn. So that is called the acceleration. Much of this you will learn in module number 14, curriculum adaptations. In question 6, what are the effects of communicating difficulties on learning development? It should be what are the effects of communication difficulties? What are the effects of communication difficulties on learning development? And what do you understand by the term communication difficulties? Somebody, what do you understand by the term communication difficulties?
Let me try.
Yes.
Oh, they have
Somebody was trying.
yes. Hello.
You are far away from us. Please be
Okay,
close.
can you hear me?
Very well.
All right, so I'll say these are learners who have little or no speech at all. They can either generate few words or they can't alter any speech at all.
Thank you very much. Now, does that affect, or can that affect learning in any way?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how? How will the communication difficulties affect learning? In which ways?
My take is there will be, like, mostly when you have discussion groups, due to their difficulties, they won't be able to participate in a class or in any discussion groups in at school, and this can lead to poor performance.
Yes, such learners may find it very difficult for them to participate in the group discussions, and this will affect their performance. That is very true. Someone else on how that is going to affect such learners? People are silent here. I can see, I'm able to see Lynn, Toy V8, the SLY, Major, Margaret, Lynn, among others. Let us contribute. Now, a learner who has communication difficulties, do such learners, are they in a position to listen and follow instructions correctly?
No.
And because of that, remember that learning needs somebody to be attentive. You must also have good memory so that when instructions are given, you're able to listen and follow them as they have been given. But when such learners are unable to, when they do not have well-developed language or communication, then this is going to affect their receptive and expressive skills. And this is where now you will meet a learner in your classroom, and this learner wants to go up to maybe to the washrooms. But now, instead of telling you, asking for permission, the learner will call the teacher. He or she may garner courage and say, teacher. But instead of now telling you that may I go to the washrooms, the learner will use their fingers to point towards where he or she wants to go. Briefly describe any 3 activities professionals can assist parents of children with special needs and disabilities. So what are some of the activities that professionals can assist parents of children with special needs and disabilities? And before we answer that question, who are these professionals that can assist the parents of children with special needs? Those parents who are having children with special needs, who are these professionals? An example of this, examples of these professionals?
Pascal.
Yes.
Specialist teachers.
We talk about the special needs teacher. And have you done module number 10?
About what?
Module number 10, about inclusive education.
No.
So have you ever heard of a term for somebody known as a teacher aide? Teacher aide. I've written in the chat box, so you can check there.
No.
So we also have the teacher aide. Now, a teacher aide let me write another name. They are called teacher aid or peripatetic teachers.
Or itinerant teachers.
Or itinerant teachers, right?
Yes.
So this is now a professional trained in the special needs education. And this professional, he may be having a workstation in a certain institution, but his main and major duty is to assist children and parents who are having children with special needs. And that means, even if it means visiting those children in their homes, visiting such families, he will have to do that because that is what his duties entails. He will also work with the regular teacher there who may not have the knowledge in the special needs education, and at long last, they will be able to help such a learner. When you will graduate at the end of this course, you may also be a teacher aide when you find yourself posted somewhere just as a teacher aide, so that you can keep assisting those children with the special needs and even their parents.
Pascal.
Yes.
I needed to confirm, are teacher aides also known as shadow teachers?
No.
All right.
No. Now, who is a shadow teacher? Now that,
Pardon.
Now that she has asked, okay, Dulfa, you can pardon the question?
I was asking, are teacher aide also known as shadow teachers?
The answer is no. And the question is, who are shadow teachers? Somebody to, because this is a term that we have been seeing. It is being used, and you will see somebody saying that a shadow teacher is needed somewhere to work with maybe an autistic child who is in grade 2, maybe under the homeschool. So who is a shadow teacher?
Side chick.
Okay. Yeah. Sarah, did I hear you say a side chick? Yes. Now, who is a teacher? Now, usiseme ni mimi. Who is a teacher? I know you are teachers, but who is a teacher? Now you have been asked, define a teacher. Who is a teacher?
This is a person who teaches in school.
I don't want you to use the word teachers.
A profession.
Okay, Pascal.
Yes.
A teacher is anyone who facilitates learning.
Who facilitates learning.
Yes.
Na si lazima awe trained.
It's not a must for him or her to be trained.
Yes. Now, when we now come to the teaching profession, that is where now one has to be trained. Our parents are teachers, and they are not trained in the area. That is, they are not professionals that are trained to handle learners in specific areas. They will handle all the children as they are born in the families, regardless of who they are, regardless of their character, regardless of how their growth pattern and development patterns. So when we talk about a shadow teacher, remember that a shadow teacher, this is a teacher who is able to support a learner who needs optimal learning. in their academic by helping such learners, by helping fill in the gaps in the learning process. Now, you realize that at home, wale ambao mnapenda kufanya tuition, muko hapa?
Kabisa.
Ati tuition ni mbaya, usidanganywe. Hata kama umeajiriwa na serikali, you must look for ways of getting extra coin. So wale watu wangu wa tuition tuko hapa.
Tuko wengi.
Tuko wengi.
Very true. Now this child has been in school, amesomeshwa na mwalimu mwenzako, pengine mwalimu mwingine, and then mzazi amekuita pale nyumbani usaidie huyu mtoto. And when you go there, who are you? You are going as a teacher, yes. But remember that you are just going to fill in the gaps in the learning process to help this child build the confidence, as well as promote the positive interaction of this child. And in most cases, shadow teachers are used in the homeschooling. Najua homeschooling is very sweet. Hata ukisikia mahali unakimbilia if you are not employed by the government, because terms and conditions are relaxed. You are the boss of the education there. If the argument is that the parent is going to pay you 30,000 by date 28, you are smiling with the money in the pocket, so you are very happy. No one has conditions. Ile siku umechoka sana, you are able to bargain with the parent. Unlike when you're working for an institution, in some of them, even if you are sick, you will have to die at the place of work. So let's carry on. And then we also talk about, so what are the activities that professionals can assist parents of children with special needs and disabilities? Yes?
Pascal.
Yes?
They can help them by getting the assistive devices.
By getting them the assistive devices, and also by training them how to use the assistive devices. And now that, Sarah, you have used a term, you have used the term assistive devices. Now, a question that you will meet, and this question we did in the next exam in the month of July, this July, was differentiate between assistive and compensatory devices. Have you ever heard of compensatory devices? When you are learning, did the lecturers touch something to go with the compensatory devices?
No, I've never heard of it.
Now, when we talk about assistive devices, remember, we are talking, for example, if somebody has a broken leg, what will the person need? Assistive or compensatory device?
Assistive.
Assistive device. It means the body part, or the part with the injury, or the part with the impairment, it is still there, but it cannot function normally. When we talk, that is assistive device. When we talk about compensatory device, did you learn about a group of people known as the amputees? Amputees
in physically impaired children.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the amputee, like if I am involved in a road accident and my right leg is severely damaged, that it can never serve the purpose that it is supposed to. So you realize that the leg is going to be amputated. We don't say the leg is cut. So when the leg has been amputated, I will automatically become an amputee. Remember, I am not dead. I still need to move, walk in the environment just like others are walking, so that I don't become a burden to those who are able to maneuver and walk. So what am I going to be given? I am going to be given a compensatory device like the caliper and the shoes. Ile unavalishwa tu. Remember the leg is not there, lakini kuna kachuma inawekwa, alafu unavaa on that leg so that when you're walking, you are able to walk with it just like others may also be able to walk. So that becomes a compensatory device. It is used to replace and to restore the lost functional ability as a result of impairment, accident, and other causes. So Sarah, you have given us a point there. Somebody to give us the third point on activities professional can assist parents of children with special needs and disabilities.
Pascal.
Yes, Sarah.
We can also share information by guiding and counseling them, counseling the parents and also their children, so that they can have a positive future life.
Yes, offering them guidance and counseling. And when, like in the class here, if you find yourself having a child with disability, there could be reasons, and you may not want to identify yourself because of the disability. But did you know one thing, that those with disability, they don't die as easily as we may think. And as a result of that, these people, they also need, that psychological empowerment, where now somebody, you have to take the full armor and accept that when the child has been born with a disability in the family, and as a father, I am not going to blame my wife for giving birth to a child of that manner. And as the mother, you are also not going to blame your husband for the disability of the child. But both the mother and the father are supposed to team up so that the two can upbring this child in a manner that is recommendable. Let me tell you something. Did you know that in the Republic of Kenya, those with disability have privileges that you without disability you can't have? Hello, did you know that those with disabilities are enjoying privileges that you cannot enjoy in the Republic of Kenya? So I'm alone here.
Yes, we know.
It is very true, because remember their salary is untaxed. If, for example, they are purchasing a vehicle from Germany at 400,000, then that will be the price. When the vehicle is brought to Kenya at the port, they will not pay extra amount of money because of the disability that they are having. And number two, I want to give you a good example, and you can always find out. Do we know the High Court judge? This lady is an albino. Do we know her?
Naitwa aje?
Let me get if somebody knows her by name.
Hatumjui.
Hatumjui?
Wewe sema umjui, wacha mwingine atuambie.
Simujui.
Yes, somebody has written the name here. Mumbi Ngugi. Now, did you know that she is the only albino girl or child among the other children of the parents? And as a result of that, she was rejected. You can imagine ukiwa kwa nyumba and you have your own plate, your own cup, and they are having designated place where you put them. If they are found that you have mixed with others, Nivita. So this lady by the name Grace Mumbi Ngugi, of course, she's a High Court judge of Kenya, and remember that she's serving in the office of the AEC, what? The Anti-Corruption and the Economic Crimes Division of the High Court. And she's also the founder of Albinism Foundation of East Africa. She is also a long-term advocate of human rights. This lady, you will find her story. If you want, you'll find her story all over in the net. She was segregated and the mother disliked her, the father rejected her. And in fact, her birth in the family made the parents to divorce because the father considered that it is the mother's making to bring such, men who fail to understand that in the industry where children are manufactured, they are having a greater influence. They are having the greater production through them. And the father left, and then the mother remained with the child, but now the mother hated the child because the child made the father to leave. But as we are speaking, those that were born in that family, those that were taken care of well, the brothers and the sisters, hawakupata kazi ya maana. This lady is the only one who has built the parents at least the mansions where they are staying, and she has helped the brothers and the sisters to secure jobs even in the government. And she's very open, she will speak it at any given point in life. So we have also seen many who are having disabilities, but they are more successful than even those who have reached the highest education levels, that is the PhD, that is the permanent head damage there. So let's look at question number 8. Explain the effects of hearing impairments, I think of hearing impairments on learning and development. Can hearing impairments affect learning development? If yes, how? In which way? Hello? People are very silent. People are very silent here. Lina Jepleting, Lina. Lina?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm fine.
I can see you are in the wrong class. You are supposed to be in the sign language in room number 1.
Sauti yako nikafikiri ni huku.
No, today I decided to come and benchmark here. Let me assign you your class. I hope you will be able to see. I've assigned you room 1 in the IE. So I hope you are able to see and you can join. Now, class, explain the effects of hearing impairment on learning and development. Can hearing impairment affect learning?
Yes.
Then how?
Let me try, Pascal.
Yes.
Learners who are deaf will not be able to acquire the spoken language normally. So through that, it will affect their learning because they will not be able to capture what has been spoken.
Now, and if you want to know that the hearing impairment has much to do with learning, then tomorrow when you meet your learners, I know they may not have hearing impairment, but from the first learner yule mwenye anakaa mbele kabisa, whisper a word and ask that learner to whisper that word to the next learner until ifikie mtu wa mwisho kwa kona, and then ask that last person ni nini amesikia. I'm telling you, mutajisikilizia mambo. What you will hear will be completely and totally different from what you whispered to the very first person. So when you do that, kindly make the last person to be the first, yule mwenye atasikia ya mwisho huko nyuma, to be the first to speak it loud, and the first person who was whispered to by the teacher to be the second to speak what was whispered to that, to him or her. You realize that the information or the whatever you whispered will be completely different. It will have been distorted. So again, hearing impairment has a lot to do with learning. When you will get introduced to the sign language, you will realize that some of the information, especially when somebody is speaking too fast, will be very difficult to be interpreted. And one thing you can be very sure is that when you put conditions like, rather, when you have a partner who is hearing impaired, how do you communicate in darkness? Have you ever thought about that? How do you communicate in total darkness? Even if you're using sign language, how do you communicate in total darkness? So you realize that good hearing is a recipe for learning. Finally, question number 9 on this slide, list any 4 stages of emotional reaction of a parent with, it should not be which, of a parent with, of a parent with a child with special needs, of a parent with a child with special needs. Wewe kama mzazi, you've been at the, maybe you've gone for delivery, and this is your firstborn. When you go for delivery, and let me talk to the men here. Wamenyamaza sana. James, are you still around? James ameenda. I can't see the man. Major, are you here? Fine. When you have gone to the when you have gone to the delivery room as a lady, as a man, this is your firstborn. You are going to hold on your hand. So you will be having some butterflies in your stomach as you wait to receive the news of the newborn. And then both of you get the very first, the news is broken to you that you've given birth to a baby boy, but unfortunately, the boy is missing one of the upper limbs. That is, the right arm from the elbow is missing. What is going to be your reaction? That is what the question is asking. What do you think is going to be the reaction?
Pascal.
Yes.
First, we'll have a shock. We'll be shocked.
Yes, you'll be shocked. After being shocked,
then you'll get depressed.
You become anchored. Nashikwa na anchor.
Na anger, yes. After that,
denial.
Denial, yes. Hey, denial, really? There is something that is missing? Inakuaje? It is?
Bargaining.
Yes, shock, and then anger, then bargaining, then
depression.
Then depression, then
you accept and you reorganize yourself.
Yes.
Acceptance and reorganization.
Yes, accept. You now accept, acceptance, and finally reorganization. Now, What does that mean? This is what it means in I've written it in the chat box, but most of the times we write it as SABDA as a formula there. I've written the SABDA as a formula there. Now, what happens? You are shocked and then you get anger. Unakasirikia mwenzako, wewe ndio umefanya hii. Sisi kwa familia yetu hatujawahi kuwa na mtu kama huyu amezaliwa. And equally from the lady's side, no one may have had such. But these disabilities may be caused as a result of genetical incompatibility. When the genetical makeup of the mother and the father were incompatible, then there is a possibility that the child to be born may have a disability. At the same time, there could be accidents, especially when the mother is expectant. You have been told about exposure to X-ray radiations during the first 3 months of pregnancy, and you have been told about the exchange, that is the commercial exchange of sex partners during the pregnancy. You have also been told about the poisoning. You've also learned about the, when you are a heavy drug addict, a smoker, or you are drinking too much alcohol, you're likely to give birth to a child with a disability. Not only those ones, but also those who have attempted abortion. Those who have not attempted should not try, because you realize that to some extent, when you do abortion, you will only end up removing one of the limbs. Like you tried to do abortion, and the only thing that came out was the leg. Quarter of the leg of the child was able to be done away with. So you are able to give birth to a child with a disability. So when that happens, you have to be shocked. You'll be angry, and then you bargain, including bargaining with the doctors. Tafadhali daktari, I will do this. If you help me change this situation, you realize it can't work. You go on your knees and you tell God, God, if you do this, I will do this. And then God seems to be listening to you, but the change is not there. And then after the bargaining, what happens?
Become depressed.
You become depressed, you don't eat, the life is pushing you to the wall, and you realize you are not eating, ni wewe ndio unaenda Sara, rangi ya ngozi inabadilika, you become sick, and you say enough is enough. And then you say, now I am going to eat. Remember David, and the only child he was alikuwa anaangalia wakati alikufa, he ate bread like never before. So you now say you accept, and now you reorganize yourself now to take care of such child. However, it is not necessary that you have to undergo all this, especially if you have gone to the class of the special needs. Now, I can see it is 1001 class. And I know we have not looked at the slide with answers like this slide. We have not looked at this, plus some other good slides down here. I will want us to stop here. But before we stop here, as you are much aware, my laptop is always being used in the second year. And today, because we were having the sign language, I was unable to attend the sign language so that I can come this side. Now, Zedi is in Marsabit, and Marsabit has a lot of challenges with the network. I would have requested and wished, if somebody has a laptop, that person can liaise with me. I can help you make the slides. Otherwise, I will not be able to make all the slides. I only have to empower you and let you know how you can make the slides. And once you have mastered the technique, then you can make the slides and the class will always be running. I may not want your class to die just because Zeddy may have experienced the technical heat with the network, when there are other people who can grab it and help us to grow in this class. So I will request in this class, if there is somebody who can be willing to assist, ujitokeze tu saa hii so that maybe we can know the position, because our next class is coming on Saturday in the evening. Tomorrow on Friday, we have no class.
Annette Walela. Pascal.
Yes.
Annette Walela ako na laptop.
Annette, are you there, Annette?